Following an announcement that Donald Trump would withdraw 2,000 troops from Syria, it appears that he's also considering withdrawing troops from Afghanistan. In fact, he has ordered the Defense Department to begin preparations for withdrawing as many as 7,000 troops from Afghanistan. That's about half of the troops that are currently deployed in the country right now. Now, he did not consult with anyone before he made this decision in typical Trump fashion. So as a result, this has been a decision that, quote, stunned Afghan officials who said they had not been briefed on the plans. Now, of course, just like with Syria, everyone is kind of piling on Trump in opposition to this. Both the mainstream media is, lawmakers are. And the big argument is, well, look, I mean, what are the Afghan troops gonna do? They need us to be there so we can train them so they can take on the Taliban on their own and not need the United States in the future. Except we've been in Afghanistan for 17 years. At this point, the Afghan troops could have learned how to do various types of surgery, but if they don't know how to take care of the Taliban after 17 years of US involvement, I don't know when this war would ever end. Now that's just me editorializing the story, but again, Trump seems to be serious about pulling 7,000 troops out of Afghanistan.
I think it's great. I don't care who's doing it. All I care about is policy. So do I think he's doing it in a prudent way? Of course not. He's Donald Trump. He doesn't do his homework and he doesn't care about the consequences. So should he have told our allies ahead of time? Should he have told the Pentagon ahead of time? Of course. One of the people quoted in the story joked, a diplomat, one of our diplomats said, the tweet of Damocles was hanging over Afghanistan the whole time. So at any point they knew that Trump could drop a tweet and then we're done with it. But in this case, overall on the policy, I'm curious where the Democrats are. And we've been wanting to get out of Afghanistan for an incredibly long time. We should be very welcoming of this news. I hope they don't have Trump derangement syndrome where they then turn around and go, Trump did it, so now all of a sudden I want to stay in Afghanistan, because that would be A, mental, and B, corrupt, because then I'd have to question where you're getting your funding. And I would be very surprised if it wasn't defense contractors.
I'm grateful that we might be on our way out. I worry about that it's kind of a binary situation where we're in or we're out. We're not. There's no titration to the withdrawal, as far as I know, because he's not sharing any information.
Yeah, the chance that Donald
it's a little
Trump
scary.
would even know the word you just used, let alone be able to implement it, is inconceivable, right?
So earlier this year, there was a story that we actually covered on the show regarding the disagreement that Trump consistently had with the Defense Department, the generals that he was working with, including Mattis. And for the generals, there was no end in sight for the war. The foreign policy from an ideological standpoint, their foreign policy was, no, we remain there as long as possible, right? There is no end in sight. And they were pretty clear about that. And Trump disagreed with that. And I actually fall on Trump's side. Look, the generals and the defense contractors, of course they want perpetual war. Of course, you can be there for 17 years and after 17 years come out with the same tired argument about how, the Afghan troops are still not trained enough to take care of this on their own. I mean, they can make that argument over and over again. But again, it's been nearly 2 decades. And I do worry about Trump doing things, just on a whim without really thinking about the process and a better transition in getting the troops out. But I think that his gut instinct here is the right gut instinct. And last year he wanted to pull troops out of Afghanistan and Mattis told him, no, we can't do it yet. Well, a year later, Mattis is singing the same tune, which is probably one of the reasons why he decided to resign. So if you weren't able to do it last year, what happened throughout this full year where there's been absolutely no progress and we need to remain in Afghanistan?
I'm so sick of it. Look, if Democrats support Lindsey Graham logic here and just to defy Donald Trump, it's totally betraying progressive principles and ideology. So Lindsey Graham said that this should be based on conditions on the ground. What conditions, Lindsey? So when things are going well, you go, don't withdraw because things are going well, although they've never gone well. And if things are going poorly, you go, well, we can't withdraw now, things are going poorly. They talk about, the Afghan troops have low morale. We've been there 17 years. How long is it going to take them to boost their morale? So if it turns out they can't boost it in 17 years, I got news for you. They ain't never gonna boost it.
One other thing in regard to Lindsey Graham, the fear mongering has begun. In fact, he's warning that this is paving the way for a second 9/11.
Of course, same old crap, mushroom clouds and 9/11s and all that stuff. So that's why I'm gonna be furious if Democrats support this. So far, sound of silence. I mean, look, cable news, they're never gonna put anyone on air who's against the war. I mean, MSNBC, Jesus Christ, can you say one word? Okay, Syria's complicated. I think we should withdraw from Syria, but yes, the Kurds are a precarious situation and it's complicated. I'll halfway grant you that. Afghanistan is not complicated. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a knucklehead like Trump. You do it in the right way as we described earlier, okay? But is it like, gee, should we stay or should we go? Lindsey Graham says the conditions on the ground haven't. He's always gonna say that. So here, I'll give you one more quote from the warmonger Lindsey Graham. He said, "We are setting in motion the loss of all of our gains." What gains? What gains? Name me one gain out of Afghanistan.
I just want to hear Lindsey Graham specifically talk about the the situation on the ground in Afghanistan, because I would venture to say that he has no idea. No idea. And by the way, just to respond or add a little more context into what's happening behind the scenes and the negotiations that are taking place. So the UAE is apparently trying to get the United States, Afghanistan, and also the Taliban to get together for a peace resolution. So I don't know what that it will result to, or I don't know what the result to that will be, but I do know that at least there's like some, conversations happening behind the scenes, and it's not just like a rampant, like we're just gonna withdraw everyone.
Yeah, but I will tell you this, look, there's some also reports that some of the leaders in Afghanistan, the elites of Afghanistan are panicking and ready and packing their suitcases for when we leave. So that means they were never planning to stay. I mean, they were never planning to be independent and get it to a point where we could leave in an orderly way. They were just waiting around cashing checks. So I'm exhausted from sending checks and, more importantly, American lives over to Afghanistan to go die there for something that is never going to be resolved. It doesn't matter if you stay another 17 years. And if Democrats oppose this move, it will be a shocking move of hypocrisy. Although, given the corporate Democrats, is anything ever shocking? Thanks for watching this free clip of the Young Turks. Don't forget to become a TYT member today. For more exclusive content, join now at tyt.com/join.